on. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the regular city council meeting. I apologize for being late. Our first council meeting went a little long for the evening. It is currently 6:32. Let it be known that all members of the council are present. Tonight, we are joined by Grow Academy's student council, as well as a few others who are in the crowd because they have a very large student council body. That's good to see that. And we're going to look at President Esquivel from Grow Academy to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we can all rise. Salute pledge.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing.
Bow your heads. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to come together with open minds and compassionate hearts as we convene the city council meeting. We ask that you grant us the wisdom to make fair decisions, the strength to act justly, and the compassion to serve our community with integrity. Let us honor and trust the trust placed in us by the citizens we serve and work diligently towards a brighter future. Amen.
Amen.
Watch your hand.
Make it tight up here. Did I get your hand? Oh, man, did I get your hand? All right, I felt like I got someone's hand over here. It's tight. I'm just gonna tell you right now. We're all squeezed in. It's fantastic. Very good. So I'm going to move to need a motion for approval of the agenda. I am asking if we can take the closed session items and move them to the back. That would go after management report number. Actually, I'm sorry, after the department director comments and reports.
Correct. I'll make that motion.
Second.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Proud, again with moving closed session behind the department director comments and reports. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Given.
Yes. Put my notes in here real quick. Bear with me. Okay. With that said, we're going to move into our public comment time. Public comment time is for any person wishing to speak on any item on the agenda or in any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. You are invited to speak from the podium and address the city council. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is needed for a translation. We ask you to please state your name and address for the record before making your presentation. That in just one hit. Whoa, okay, that was a little much. Public comment time is now open. So I guess I should have prefaced that by saying, don't hit it so hard.
It's funny.
Is there a handyman around?
Yeah,
He
we
had a
have
blog.
two just in case. How about that? Public comment time is open if anyone wishes to address the council. Seeing none online, I'll do it this time.
Wait
Pub-
just a minute.
Oh, you had someone. Yes, please. I didn't come up to the podium, please.
Oh, I should have introduced her. They're students working on masters.
Hello, Mayor,
Hi.
Mayor Pro Tem and council members. My name is Velia Fivecoat. I used to live here in Shafter many, many years ago. I am now a student at CSUB, and I brought some of my friends. We are writing a paper on Shafter. So we were going to be here last Tuesday, but Mayor Pro Tem said, no, it's this Tuesday. So here we are. I live in Bakersfield, 12206 Wild Horse Avenue. And I just have I have 3 questions and I'll make them brief. One is, where am I? What are the main concerns for the community of Shafter? Maybe 1 or 2. We're writing a paper on Shafter. We're all writing a paper on Shafter where we're wanting to explore the positives, the strengths, and also what's needed in the city of Shafter. So off the top of your head.
So I'll leave that to you.
So the question again was, what are the main concerns for the city of Shafter, the community of Shafter?
Any takers, council?
Well, the main concerns is always just to work with the citizens to meet what their needs are.
I would say we're doing a big push on economic development right now. Yes.
On the what? On
Economic developments,
yes.
the enhancements and the additions of both commercial and our continued growth with industrial. That includes the ability to have high-paying jobs for students as they graduate through school and continued work with the various partners that we have, whether that's with our library and learning center system or the partners that we have in the wonderful industrial park. But that's very important for us.
And I think also adding, expanding our recreation part as in the way of parks and, this aquatic
Activities
centers and
and-
stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
Was that an okay answer?
Thank you. Next question, what has helped or alleviate the concerns of the city of Shafter? What has helped promote the city? Maybe what has it been the colors you've had?
Well, festivals are always important. Anytime we can bring people together.
Our Cinco de Mayo program, to the point of festivals, is the largest Cinco de Mayo program that we have in Kern County.
Yes.
I think sometimes we've had to start some of these, just like with the street fair,
Mhm.
to get people acclimated to come out of their houses and get together and enjoy each other's company, fellowship.
I don't know where,
I would have to brag, I would have to say Christmas parades.
yeah,
There you go. I mean, it's those events. that's what-
festivals are a
that's
big
what
deal.
it's for.
Yes.
We do a really good job with our social media outreach, understanding our demographics and knowing what age categories are sitting here in the city right now. We have an understanding of where they get their media and their information. So we have one of the largest social media outreaches for any of the municipalities locally, as well as one of the largest hits of our name, which is just Shafter, if you're doing a Google search.
Well, when my husband and I lived here, I enjoyed living here. So
Yeah.
I loved the community and the people in it and people that I met. So
You understand?
one more question?
Yeah.
Okay. Does Kern County provide adequate funding for the needed resources? I don't know if that's, out there, but it was just something we thought, does Kern County fund adequately? It could be a yes or no question. I don't want to dig too deep
So-
or politically, but.
I can tell you that the county owes all citizens in the county. And so unfortunately, we have not been supported by the county as much as we should, but they have some ongoing issues and problems. And so we've had to proceed on with what we want and go after it ourselves. For instance, owning the library
Correct,
should have been with the county and yet
correct.
we have it with the city. We,
Yes.
we own it, we manage it.
Yes,
Promote.
one of my
Students,
colleagues, we were talking about
Involved,
that, the
yeah,
library and everything. Yeah.
We've done that to a few buildings that the county owned that they just couldn't maintain or
they were going
manage.
to close the
Okay.
vets hall for one.
So
too.
we've taken that over. However, to that point, we are financially stable. And when you compare what we do and who we are to every city in Kern County, we are quite different than most others.
Yes,
There's goods and bads to that. The good is we're able to do things like if you were listening earlier, we're able to continue to add into our police force. We're continuing to add into the technologies that we have, which is great.
yes.
The downsides of that are if you go ask for money or go ask for assistance from the county, they're going to look at you and say, you don't need it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, that's the. downside.
yeah.
Okay.
But
it's
still
an
not right.
unfortunate. It's not right.
No,
It's not right because there are things the county should be doing.
Yes,
We're very grateful to have the abilities to do what we do.
But on the flip side, they are helping and reaching out to the outskirts of Shafter, we could say like the colony area.
okay.
Well, I guess it's called the Colonia. So
Mhm.
I think they're expanding out there doing some projects, so.
Let me add to that too, and that's because we're known as a disadvantaged area.
Yes,
And so even the air district with Prop 617 is forcing that for the county to
Oh,
have to
okay.
supplement. They have to also be involved in it. They have to partner with us.
I would venture to say if you want to know more information, we have great staff you can reach out to who has
Yes.
access to all of this.
yes,
Typically, it's not something we are capable of answering during
okay.
these moments.
That's
So,
right, just
yeah, we've got to be really
yes or
cautious of
no
what we
is-
say and how we do it. Yeah.
Yes, I understand the politics and everything. so.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's all I have. I don't know if any of my colleagues have any questions.
One other thing I'd like to add is public safety.
Public
Uh,
safety,
the
yes. that's
People
right.
feeling secure.
Yes.
We've just talked about, adding to our police force and we're
Yes.
getting ready to add a substation and a county firehouse.
Yes,
And, new vehicles, new equipment. So, I think that has a lot to play with it too.
yes, very good. I'm sure that'll help the citizens feel safer and,
Yes.
If you really need more information, our audit that we're going to be presenting tonight has quite a number of good points and interests of the history that brought us to where we are.
The
That should really, our audit for
Okay.
the last year.
Oh, of last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's always a good narrative in there and it's an 8-page. That might help you a lot on your project.
Okay,
Mhm.
maybe I can ask you further questions on that.
Yes,
But I don't, audit. I don't-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise you can get them from the finance department.
Oh, okay.
It's online is, I don't know, do we have any
Oh,
hard
okay,
copies?
I see.
Do we have any hard copies, Roger? On
The
audit?
financial reports,
Yes, on the audit itself,
it's available online,
online.
All righty.
but we
that-
can
that
print
helps.
if someone needs a printed copy.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you all for your time and
Technology.
for answering the questions.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you.
Fun, have fun.
Thank you, thank you. All right, any other public comment items? Yes, ma'am?
Hello, good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor and council members. So I am also a Cal State student. We are in the Master of Social Work program, so we're doing a project community. And we chose the city of Shafter as our community for this project. And so we were noticing that Shafter is a very, I would say family-oriented, tight-knit community. And when I've driven around here, I see that there's no like big chain stores or stuff like that. I see more local. So is that something that is going to be like expanded? Are you working on bringing any like bigger stores into town, more of that kind of stuff? Or is it more like you want to support local?
I will tell you, I'm being yelled at right now.
Oh,
I do have to
So
let you know that.
this is the part of the meeting where I get to be the bad guy.
okay.
So under California's laws, they can't have an extended discussion about a lot of these questions because it's
Oh.
not on the agenda.
Oh,
They could provide brief responses.
okay.
But what I would suggest is perhaps you could set up an interview with, not to throw you guys under the bus,
That's
but
fine,
maybe set up an
absolutely fine.
interview with the mayor or somebody else to ask those questions directly, and they could probably spend a whole hour with you if you like.
Okay.
That's a great question. We sit on an economic development committee and it's a great question. Let me just say. it
You're
like
on
that.
the, you're not far off the mark.
No, you're not.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'll make an appointment.
I get yelled at a lot by him and he's yelling at me right now. So
Okay.
City attorney.
that would be the best way. If ladies, if you have any other questions on it, by all means, reach out. Whether it's when you call the 5,000 number, they'll get you in the right direction. Yeah, and any one of us would be more than willing to have the conversations, but definitely reach out. Okay, any other public comment items? Okay, hearing none, public comment time is closed. We are going to move into our council announcements and reports. Councilmember Espinoza, I'm going to start with you tonight.
Yes, I made a couple of events of the Color Festival, spaghetti dinner. I went to the Shafter Museum. I went by the Arts and Wine Testing Festival. I caught the tail end of that at Tin Cup. And it seemed like everybody was enjoying themselves, having a good time. On the 27th, I attended the oath of office for Tutor Ariana Gill. So I was here for part of that. I missed the officer oath on the 28th. And that's all I have to report.
Councilmember O'Hara.
I don't have anything, just today is Super Tuesday, so get out there and vote if you haven't done it yet.
Still have time.
I see what you just did there. Councilmember Alvarado.
Yeah, the only thing I have to report was, we had a participated in the spaghetti, and I want to, share, or actually I want to say to everyone that who bought a ticket from me, thank you very much. I appreciate your support, and, Colors does too. Thank you.
Were you the number one ticket seller? Because you were
I was.
pushing it.
I was.
No, shucks. Oh, shucks. We'll let you boast about it though. That's all right.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, it's been 2 weeks, but it's been a short timing for us beyond the colors. A lot of us were involved in it. I was on the committee and as well as represented the community chest who kicks off the whole event with a spaghetti dinner. And after 20 years of doing our spaghetti dinner, I can say that we're still there and we've kind of got the system down. We did adjust with the drive-through, but it did very well, and we'll continue to do it, hoping that others will finally get in and pick up some of the planning beforehand. Also, you and I, the mayor and I attended a high-speed rail meeting with the director as well as brought in some consultants. And interesting as to how the conversation goes. They want to have the opportunity to partner the High-Speed Authority with the city of Shafter. We can partner with them. They need to partner with us. And as it moves forward, we'll see how it comes together for our community, because it is a long project and there's an awful lot of dollars involved in the whole project. And no one could commit to any timeline. And that's the part that bothers me the most, and how it's ever going to connect. You even see a lot of cartoons that show how it doesn't connect. But we are concentrating on 119 miles, which is Bakersfield all the way to Merced. And yet it has to cover the whole state. So it's quite a project that's going to take many, many years. And many meetings. And also Read Across America. And some of you know, we've been out to Grow Academy and started last Friday with Read Across America. And it's really exciting. It's a fun project for any of us that come out to read. And I'm scheduled, as well as some of the others, to go to the other schools at Richland. And it's rewarding to me, but I'm very impressed with the students. And I've been in a kindergarten class, first grade class, fifth grade class. I mean, they're all pretty cool. It's really exciting to get a chance to do that. And I love to have my stories read to others.
Katie, all Dr. Seuss today. All Dr. Seuss. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
No, I have my own book. That's good.
It was a lot of fun.
They love it.
So with that, I'm going to move on to our consent calendar. Tonight on consent calendar, we have 7 items. I will read through these fairly briefly.
You want to see it's right here.
Item number 1 is to approve the general checks. Item number 2 is to approve payroll. Item number 3, approve overtime reports. Item number 4, approval of minutes. Item number 5, approve the special event permit Kiwanis Club of Shafter Easter Sunrise Service Manor Park on March 31st, 2024. Item number 6 is to accept the bids received for the Manor Park Irrigation Booster Pump Package and authorize to Kern Turf Supply Incorporated for a value of $59,339.05. Lastly, item number 7 is to accept the proposals received for the Shafter Skate Park Shade Umbrella, authorize the purchase from Pacific Play Systems Incorporated for an amount up to $15,000. No questions or comments. I would look for a motion in a second, please.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes. Tonight, we are going to move into our public hearing item. We have one item on the docket. Before I get into that, I know the Gross students, again, we ran late, so I apologize. I believe you guys have a hard out at 7. Is that correct, sir? So what we will do is move through the public hearing, and then after public hearing, we'll allow you kids to be released so you guys can go do whatever you're going to do tonight. I don't know what that thing is, but at least allow you guys to go do that, okay? All right, item number 1 for our public hearings is to adopt resolution 2955, approving a general plan amendment to repeal the 2015-2022 Shafter housing element and adopt the 2023 to 2031 Shafter housing element in compliance with state housing element law, and 2, adopting a mitigated negative declaration for the 2023 to 2031 Shafter housing element in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. You get every word in that title. Mr. Esselman, the floor is yours.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council, my name's Steve Esselman. I am the Planning Director, and yeah, the item today is Resolution 2955, which is about the housing element. So you've already kind of said that mouthful. I won't repeat it. Let me just get right into the quick presentation. You guys have, you've obviously been working on this for over a year now. There's been a number of presentations. This is the point now where you hopefully officially approve the housing element so that I can turn it into the state, and that will become our housing element for the next 8-year cycle. So essentially the housing element, just to give you a little bit background, you know, we prepared a housing element in compliance with a government code. It ensures adequate planning for housing demand in the city of Shafter over an 8-year period. It began with the Regional Housing Needs Assessment from KernCog, which told us the various housing by income category that we needed within our geography. KernCog is responsible for creating those RENA numbers. And then we are the ones that the city has to effectuate those RENA numbers with a housing element. The deadline for adoption was actually January 1st of this year. However, there is a 120-day grace period to get the housing element into and approved by HCD, to get the approved resolution to HCD. A little bit of a pat on the back for the city of Shafter. We are the first to get a substantial compliance letter from the state. No other municipality in Kern County has received one yet, so we are the first. Just to give you a little bit more background, between October of 22 to April of 23, there was a number of community outreach events that occurred in the city of Shafter to solicit comments on the housing element itself. And then in October to May, the city prepared our draft housing element and then submitted it to HCD, the Department of Housing and Community Development with the state. Briefly, the housing element was organized into 5 chapters and 3 appendices, and you can see that in your packet there. So I'm not going to go through all this, but basically we went through 3 rounds of review with HCD before they gave us a letter that said that we were substantially compliant with state housing element law. That occurred here in late January, which is why you're now seeing it. I tried to get it on as soon as I could. As soon as I got that letter, I knew that it was something that could remain static. We wouldn't have to do any more revisions of that nature. And so this is, we had to take it through the Planning Commission last month, and now it's coming to you as a resolution. By unanimous vote, the Planning Commission did recommend approval to the City Council of the housing element update. I'm going to go through all of this unless you have specific questions, but these are basically the revisions that we worked through in the housing element between the draft and then ultimately this revised draft that will become the final. Nothing too earth shattering. Still, the biggest policy is the need to rezone up to 184 acres. To high density residential, namely at least a minimum of 20 units per acre. And in fact, I'm already in consultation with a few property owners that may be interested in obtaining that kind of a density. And so that's a pretty hopeful sign that we're seeing that we may be actually able to do that. And coupled with that, the general plan update that we are anticipating is going to start happening here in the next few months. That's where we're really going to focus on the land use map and try to nail down those areas. Of course, with the approval of the property owners and in consultation with the property owners to nail down that 184 acres that is necessary in the geography.
Will you take a question at this time?
Yes, absolutely.
Does it have to be all within that 184? Can it be scattered throughout?
Oh, throughout the whole of the city. So there's thousands of acres. We have to rezone 184 to a higher density.
So it's up to our choice to put 10 acres here and 100 acres there, or
Correct.
the developer?
And more importantly, I think it has to be a willing property owner. We have to negotiate with the large landowners and say, would you like this? Because I can't just unilaterally put that kind of density on someone's property if they don't want it. So
Yes, but if they wanted to have all 180 acres and we don't.
oh, you mean in like one location?
Yes.
Yeah, we would, again, that's going to be part of the general plan process is to nail down those 184. And that process is going to have many opportunities for the council to provide their desires on how they want that land
Good.
use map to
Thank you.
occur. So no, it's not going to be 184 acre parcel.
But I'm saying though, a developer could come in and say, I want to do it on my 180 acres, and we can say, we'd. rather
Oh,
you
absolutely.
do
Yeah, we're not compelled to, if someone says they would like to, it doesn't mean we have to. No.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on unless you have any, go ahead, sir.
The density again, you said how many units per acre?
20 units per acre.
What is our density right now? Is that gonna be a lot different than
34.
what we see throughout the city?
Well, our densities are, single family is generally 5 units per acre. So single family residential in our house, 6,000 square foot lot. It minimum, the maximum density is 5 units per acre. If you go to R2, which is sort of limited multifamily, it goes to 14 units per acre. And then we have R3, which is our highest density zone, and that's up to 24 units per acre. I'd say the closest you got to 20 units per acre that is existing and built right now are the apartments in the south of the core. There's an apartment complex just north of the tract of homes that is going to come in. That's around 20 units per acre.
Right next to the baseball park.
Correct.
You could have 10 people in an acre. Now you
Okay,
could
thank you.
have
You're welcome, sir.
Many more, 100 people in an acre.
So with that, my recommendation is to conduct a
Is that what
hearing
we want?
and then adopt a resolution 2955 approving a general plan amendment to repeal the 2015, 2022 Shafter housing element, to adopt the 2023 to 2031 Shafter housing element, and to adopt the mitigated negative declaration. And one thing I would like to point out is that in reviewing the actual resolution itself, I realized that it's an older version of the resolution. In the resolution you have in your packet, it references an exhibit A, B, and C. In fact, the reference in the resolution to A should have been struck out. It should just reference an A, which is the housing element itself, and exhibit B, which is the mitigated negative declaration.
My apologies. The electronic version online is Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Yes.
That is a correct one. That is online. That is the one I'm using as we speak.
The one that everything is correct except for the resolution itself. The resolution in your packet, 2955, references an A, a B, and a C. The reference to A, which is about the middle of the second page, if you see it, it says an exhibit A.
Yes,
That
sir.
should have been struck. And then at the last 2 lines at the end of the resolution, which are B and C, actually should be A and B. Everything else about the staff report and the presentation in your packet is correct. I just grabbed an old version of the resolution. And in fact, I have already provided a revised version for signature if you are okay with those changes to the city clerk.
Are we striking the entire whereas on January 26, 2024, HCD provided a letter, the whole thing, or are you just striking C Exhibit A?
I am just striking C Exhibit A, and then I am
Okay.
changing Exhibit B and C to Exhibit A and B. That's the only change,
Sir.
and I do apologize.
So in your motion, if you would adopt the housing element with the changes to the resolution, that should be sufficient.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm done. If you have any questions, I've been done with the housing element for a while, but it'll be officially done.
Can I have 3 minutes? Dr. Friends? 3 more minutes before we release them. Are we okay there?
It's 7 o'clock.
Okay. This is a public hearing, so at this time, I'm going to open this up for public comment. Gently, please. That's what I'm looking for. Never gonna live that down, are you? If you have any public comments to make in regards to our public hearing item number 1. All right. Seeing none, gently. Public comment time. Public hearing is closed. Council, any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, I hear none. I'm looking for a motion of approval striking. I'm sorry, let me say this again. I'm looking for a motion of approval with the adjustments to the resolution as noted, striking Exhibit A and changing the last two exhibits for A and B respectively.
Make that motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Prout. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Given.
Yes. And with that, we're going to take a quick pause. I'm going to allow the students to see it. Only 2 minutes late. We're okay. We're 2 minutes late. Take a quick pause and allow the students to get up, find your parents. If you don't find your parent, don't go with them. Don't do that.
Yes.
If your parent's not there, stay in the audience for the love of everything. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you for letting me put you on the spot.
Take care.
I appreciate that. I don't even know what to say to you right now. Thank you. I gotta tell you, somebody got really creative with the City of Shafter shirt with they already got our emblem, their names on it. I don't even know what to say right now. Thank you. Please reach out. Please reach out.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wait just about 10 more seconds. That clears the room really quick. Thank you, parents, for showing up as well. Okay, we will move on to our management report items tonight. We have 3 management report items, if I can move my screen. Item number 1 is to acceptance of the City of Shafter Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the year ended June 30th, 2023.
So, Mayor and Council, this is a routine ministerial item that we bring to you once a year at the completion of the audit. Typically, we like to get this to you before the end of the actual calendar year, but it was more complex and we're still working through some prior audits, but I believe moving forward, that should all be addressed. This evening, our Finance Director, Roger Sanchez, will be making the presentation, as well as our independent auditor accounting firm will be making the actual presentation. Roger?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. So this is finally the financial report is completed. We did have the GASB 8796 that added to the complexities. This year, there were new changes and that just compounded to, the extra weight. This should be a brief presentation from the auditors. The summaries, because you already had plenty of numbers tonight, we will provide you that summary on the next meeting related to the budget. I'll provide a summary of a continuation of this financial results. So with that, I'd like to present Christian, what's the last name?
Towns.
No, it's-
Oh, Roger.
So with that, she's recently been promoted to an audit partner, so she will present the audit report.
Good evening, everyone. As Roger mentioned, my name is Christian Towns. I'm a new partner here at LSL within the Government Services Department. And we've been engaged by the city as the independent external auditors. So on behalf of LSL, I would like to thank you for having me present to you tonight. Do you want me to share the slides on my side? Or
Yes.
do you have them? Yeah,
Yes,
give
please.
me just 1 second to pull those up. Okay, did everything come through?
So,
Yes.
Okay. So your management team this year consisted of myself, Kaylee Gonzalez, she's serving as the engagement manager. She was going to attend tonight, but she's actually feeling off, a little under the weather today. So you'll have to meet her next time, I think. And then Sam Asbra serving as engagement supervisor. We worked primarily with Roger and Rocio within the city's finance department to complete this audit, and we'd like to thank them along with the city team members involved in the audit for the hard work and commitment to the audit process. We know everybody does not love the audits, right? They're very time consuming, a big heavy lift. The scope of the engagement this year, as in every year with the financial statement audit, As the independent external auditors included a financial statement audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. Additionally, we do issue other reports as part of our agreement with the city. These reports include the appropriations limit agreed upon procedures completed in August of 23 this past year, and the TDA financials and single audit, which are on track to be completed by the end of the month. The focus of the presentation tonight will be on the financial statement audit, noting management is responsible for everything you see in the financial statements before you, including the account balances, footnote disclosures, supplementary information. Our role as the external auditor is to audit all of the significant balances to determine whether they are materially correct. It's different from an absolute determination over the information presented. Our audit isn't intended to test every number and confirm that every transaction throughout the year was correct. It's intended to determine whether or not those balances are materially correct, and if they do have small variances, would those variances impact the decisions that may be made by those using the financial statements. The scope of our engagement included both interim and year-end fieldwork. Interim fieldwork focuses on the city's internal control process and procedures, including walkthroughs surrounding significant transaction cycles to gain comfort over their effectiveness and the possible impact on the year-end financial statements. It's important to note that management is responsible for the designing of these processes and procedures, including putting strong internal controls in place, which ultimately impacts the reliability of the financial information you use every day. We provided feedback to management based on the results of our examinations, and we used the results of interim fieldwork to perform our audit risk assessment and develop our plan for year-end audit fieldwork. So our year-end audit fieldwork, that focuses on the significant account balances reported within the financial statements presented tonight. This fieldwork includes detailed test work utilizing confirmations and a combination of substantive and analytic test procedures to provide reasonable assurance over the activity presented in the financial statements being materially correct. Additionally, we perform compliance testing with laws, regulations, grant agreements, and contracts per government auditing standards. Collectively, these procedures allow us to support our opinions provided within our reports. Any questions so far? I keep going. The first report we issue is the audit opinion. Based on our audit of significant transactions, our understanding of the city's policies and procedures, and our test work results, we've issued an opinion that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. For the city, we rendered an unmodified opinion, which is considered a clean opinion, meaning the financial statements complied with all applicable GASB statements and the numbers reported in those statements were materially correct. The second report we issue is the report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance in other matters. In a previous slide, we mentioned that we gain an understanding of the city's internal controls. Management is required to put those internal controls in place and protect the city's assets to ensure accurate financial reporting throughout the whole year. We do not audit the internal controls, but we do obviously consider the design and effectiveness of them on the information reported in the financial statements. Because we don't audit the internal controls, we do not express an opinion on those internal controls. The letter is intended to report any deficiencies in internal controls that came to our attention that needed addressed, that ultimately could risk the reliability of the financial statements. For the city, we did identify one material weakness surrounding financial reporting this year, and the identified impacts to the financial statements have been addressed and incorporated by the finance department into the financial statements to ensure they're materially correct. Through our discussions as well with Roger and his team, we expect the factors causing this material weakness to be resolved during the 2024 fiscal year. The final letter we issue is the audit communication letter, also known as the SAS 114 conclusion letter. This letter summarizes the audit process and our interactions with your team. It's important to note that we encountered no challenges working with the finance department, as your team was patient, helpful in answering questions and made themselves available through phone or video calls as often as needed to keep the financials moving forward. We didn't have any disagreements with management over how transactions should be recorded, such as GASB 96, which was required to be implemented this year. We determined that all estimates used by management in preparing the financial statements were reasonable. These estimates, they can relate to pension activity, GASB 87 for leases, which was implemented in fiscal year 22, GASB 96 implemented in the current year, just to name a few. Additionally, we identified no fraud, waste, or abuse during fiscal year 23. And as part of the conclusion over the financial statement audit, management signs what we call a management representation letter. This letter shows their understanding and acceptance of management's responsibility, and that they're not aware of any errors or fraudulent activity that was required to be reported to us as the auditors. It's a very standard letter, and it's required for all audits that we perform. New information reported in the fiscal year 23 financial statements are the result of implementing GASB 96, the subscription-based IT arrangements. As Roger mentioned, this is similar to GASB 87, and your team at the city had to spend a significant amount of time combing through software-related arrangements that the city participates in and make determinations whether those agreements should result in an associated asset and liability within the city's financial statements and comply with GASB 96. The result as of June 30th, 2023, so the 23 fiscal year, was a subscription asset in the amount of $954,000 and a liability in the amount of about $881,000. You can find additional information on this implementation within the notes to your statements at note 6.
Thank you, Mark.
A few financial highlights for fiscal year 23. Net position increased by 8.8 million during the year. This classification is impacted by the net changes within balance sheet activity, and this can fluctuate significantly each year as a result of such things like what I'm about to go over. Those directly impact this classification. And unrestricted net position represented 32.8% of operating expenses and 43.2% of total net position. Your capital assets, which includes GASB 96 implementation this year, these increased by about 0.4 million or less than 1% from the prior year. Long-term debt, including the liability portion of GASB 96 implementation, increased by 3.1 million or 129.8%. This also includes pension activity, which had a significant swing from the prior year. There was the net pension asset reported in the prior year, so fiscal year 22 reported a net pension asset of 9.8 million. However, fiscal year 23 reported net pension liability of 2.5 million. So this causes that overall significant swing of 12.3 million. This activity is primarily impacted by actuary determinations within the pension system, and it's common to see significant swings from one year to the next. Regarding OPEB liability, actuary determinations also resulted in a change, just not as big, 0.2 million decrease from the prior year. Each of these financial highlights are also discussed further in more detail within the footnotes. Do you have any questions?
Questions, council? A lot of information.
It is a lot, yeah. And as always, on the next slide too, I do have my contact information. A lot of times it's, you come up with the questions after the fact, right? After you have a minute to process everything, go back through the information again. If any questions do come up, you can feel free to reach out at any time and we're happy to discuss.
We'll funnel that through our city manager and finance director for sure. Very good presentation.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. You guys have a great night.
Thank you. Okay, council, no questions or comments in regards to that. I know there's a lot to take in. It is in your agenda packet if you would like to go through the financials at a much more detailed level, but otherwise very good. This does fully get us up to date, correct?
That's right.
We were there about, what, a year and a half of time that we were out? Is that right, Mayor Pro Tem? I think we were out for a while, so thank you. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, before you move on, Mayor, I need you to accept the report if that's.
I was just getting there.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were moving on.
No, no. With that said, I am looking for a motion and a motion and a second for the acceptance of the ACFR for year ended June 30th, 2023.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Proud, a second by Councilmember Olvera. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout.
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes. Thank you again, sir. Item number 2 is to award a professional services contract to Ortiz Melby Architects Incorporated in an amount up to $90,000 for the design of the new Aquatics Center building.
So, Mayor Council, these items are both related to the pool, the aquatic center, and our Deputy Public Works Director of CIP, Alex Gonzalez, will make both of the staff report presentations for items 2 and 3. So, Alex.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council. At its December 19th meeting, the City Council directed staff to proceed with steps to design and construct a new main building for the Aquatic Center in lieu of rehabilitating the existing one. Staff reached out to Ortiz Melby Architects Incorporated to provide a cost proposal to complete plans and specifications for a scaled down version of the 5,000 square foot building that was previously designed several years ago. So the new facility be similar in size to our current building at about 3,000 square feet, and it's planned to have similar amenities such as restrooms, locker rooms, concession stand, storage, office space. The intent is to design a facility that would ultimately be constructed using modular building company to expedite the construction timeline and to potentially save on construction costs. Ortiz Melby Architects submitted a cost proposal of $75,000 to advance their design to biddable construction plans and specifications. Given their familiarity with the site, project, and the work they previously completed to date, they are the firm that is in best position to move the project forward quickly and efficiently. So staff is recommending a project budget of $90,000 to cover the submitted proposal and allow for any contingencies that might occur during the design process. Staff determined the proposals can be awarded on a sole source basis as it complies with our rating procurement policies. And the council previously dedicated approximately $715,000 in federal ARPA funding towards the improvements at the Aquatic Center. There is enough in this budget to complete this work, so no budget action is necessary at this time. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Questions, comments, concerns, council? No, I've got, oh, go
What's
ahead.
a timeline on the construction?
I believe that we gave like a 12 to 18 month timeline for the whole thing, you know, to get it designed and constructed.
Okay.
I have two questions. Number one, Ortiz Melby should have already had architectural services rendered for this project. We had this done 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Now, barring things have changed, I know CBC has changed, I understand that, but for them to be at $51,000, which leads me to my second question, I think that number is incorrect. For them to be at $51,000 for architectural services doesn't seem realistic, since they should have already had a building, I would assume somewhere between 30 to 60% complete. Correct? Or are we just, did we just scratch
Yeah.
that and we're going back to beginning?
I
here?
think a distinction to make, Mayor, Mayor and Council, is that, from my understanding, those plans were for conventional construction. And we're pursuing modular construction, that the approach for modular construction, we've learned going through the process for the police substation, is that they only do design up to 90%, and the plans and specs are then actually, well, not the plans and specs. That 90% is then put out to bid and then the manufacturers for the modulars then bid on that, and then they take the plans and complete them so that they comply with HCD, since ultimately the manufacturer is the one who has to go to HCD, Housing Community Development, who permits those modular units. And I believe that may be the reason why the cost is different from when the original plans were done up for conventional construction versus modular this time.
That's the reason I'm asking the question, because which I do understand that, but I also realize that there should be plans that are theoretically to that point.
Correct.
And the building design itself, they're not doing any of the structural components on it. They do it on the outsides. But, yeah, so that number seems high. It's $75,000 is what you're showing. The compensation breakdown does show the architectural services at either $51 or $5,100. So there's something missing there. Yeah, I just want to confirm that. But even asking for 90,000 on something that I would assume they already had done, I'm not saying no to it. I'm just questioning where they're coming up with the $51,000.
Mayor Gibbons, if I may, a key distinction is, I think, is that we're talking about biddable plans and specs. I think what they produced in the past has just been a site rendering, whereas we're asking them in this case to produce a full biddable set of plans, which could constitute 20, 30 construction sheets as well. So you have a considerable amount of drafting and precise architectural work that you need to lay out for the benefit of bidding contractors.
So that's what I'm looking at here. So they provided the rendering. They didn't do any of the other A sheets. Just
Correct.
everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then confirmation that is 51,000 or $51. I like $51.
I don't believe it is $51. Doing the math, you know, going backwards from the 75,000 that is listed below, it should come in at 51,000.
But I was okay with saying $51. Didn't hurt my feelings. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? It doesn't add, I know. If hearing none, we're looking for a motion of approval for up to $90,000.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Councilmember Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Kraut,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes. Very good. Moving on to item number 3, which is to award the existing aquatic center building demolition to Croker Incorporated in an amount up to $50,000. Mr. Gonzalez or Mr. Gonzalez.
Continue.
Okay.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, in order to prepare for the new building construction at the Aquatic Center, staff reached out and requested cost proposals to demolish the existing building. Demoing the building now will allow for utilities to be better identified during the design phase, as well as ensuring that the improvements that we are currently constructing with the pool rehabilitation, that is not having to be tied into an existing building and that, you know, there's a clean slate that they can work from. We did receive 4 proposals. Croker Incorporated submitted the lowest proposal in an amount of $42,536. Croker did complete some demolition work for the CVH lift station project that we did across the street a few years ago as a subcontractor to our general on that job. Staff is recommending a project budget of $50,000 to cover the cost proposal and any contingencies that might arise during the process. With the current forecast for the construction of the new building being spring of 2025, staff is currently working on a plan to operate the pool without the building. But that would require things like temporary showers and restrooms and changing stations be provided because those things are required to operate the pool. So again, council previously dedicated approximately $715,000 in federal ARPA funding towards improvements at the aquatic center. So there is enough funding in the current project budget to complete this work. And so no budget action is required at this time. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion in a second, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Gibbons.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez. I appreciate that. And with that said, that is the last of our management report items. So, Mr. Gonzalez.
Certainly, Mayor and Council, just a friendly reminder, 2 events taking place this Thursday is the Current Cog Awards. Our former city engineer, Kevin Harmon, is being recognized for an award. And then Saturday, 8:30 to hopefully about noon, we're doing our strategic plan review. We'll be posting the agenda and providing any staff report and documentation tomorrow. So just those 2 friendly reminders. Otherwise, nothing further to report and no department director.
We're at the PD, right?
We're at the PD conference room, correct.
Okay, with that, we do not get to close the evening off. We get to go into recess and closed session. Remember, we moved that around. Before we move into closed session, there are 4 items in our closed session docket. Conference with legal counsel for an existing litigation for the Department of Tax and Fee Administration in regards to our Williams-Sonoma case. Item number 2 is conference with legal counsel or exposure to litigation to section 54956.9, section D2 and subsection E1. Item number 3 is the public employee performance evaluation, and that is for our city manager. And then item number 4 is the public employee appointments, once again for the same title under city manager. With that said, I need a motion to move into recess and then closed session.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Prout, a second by Councilmember Alvarado. All those in favor with aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Hearing none, we are moving into recess. Hold on. Welcome back. We are back from closed session. I'm going to look to our city attorney to lead us out, please.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council recess and closed session. The items are listed on the regular meeting agenda. There were 3 items on tonight's agenda. 4 items on tonight's agenda. 2 of them were related, conference with legal counsel concerning existing litigation and potential litigation. City Council heard presentations on those items from legal counsel. We have no reportable action. There was also both public employee performance evaluation and public employee appointment. City Council provided direction on both of those items, and there's no reportable action. That concludes the report.
Very good. With that, there's nothing else on the docket for the evening. I need a motion and a second to adjourn, please.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Espinoza, a second by Councilmember Olvera. All those in favor with aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed, hearing